Gormagut Lascan Corla Tisha. Since the pandemic, good broadband right around the country has become more apparent, the need for it in all parts of Ireland. We know that as it's being rolled out at the moment, the National Broadband Plan, there are problems. Hopefully they can be overcome in the line of tree cutting, the polers, and even the guys that's putting up the wires. It's an unusual situation to hear guys that are the contractors saying that as bad as they were when they were working for them, this crowd don't seem to be organised at all. Even though 7 million has been spent, I see from the Irish Times article yesterday, in oversight to do this properly. And hopefully over the coming months it will be got right. Taoiseach, in 2017 we were all invited to Ballinasloe, where ENET and SSE were doing a rollout of broadband. Other counties were mentioned, but we were mostly interested in our own county. The word, and it's on the department website today, is that Ballinasloe is getting the fastest broadband speeds anywhere in the world. It is still on the website this morning. And that was great, and people from different backgrounds jumped up and down. I've seen so many quotes of welcoming this great announcement by the spin doctoring of the previous government. Garbelly College, fine college in Ballinasloe, is beside Squel Ikerna, an Irish-speaking school that has 204 youngsters. Ballinasloe Hospital is 50 yards to the front of it. There is a housing estate 50 yards to the left of it. And there is Squel Niwera, maybe 200 or 300 yards away from it. And they have broadband, those schools I talked about. They have broadband brought to them. But funnily enough, after Board of Management, after the principal, after the Parents Association, this school in the Gaza Strip has been left without broadband. 2 megs. That's what they're getting. And the department, in fairness to them, has sent them laptops and sent them all the gear that you require. It's like sending you the shell of a car without the engine. That's what has happened there. I am asking you, Taoiseach, within 50 yards you can bring a duct, to put it simple, because I know a bit about this. You can bring a duct and bring broadband from 3 different sides. And funnily enough, the Department of Education, all it has ever said to them is go back to the service provider. Well, the service provider hasn't provided to this school and to them children. And in my opinion, those 204 children matter as much in Ballinasloe as every other child in the rest of the other schools. Thank you.
I would agree with the Deputy, and in my view all schools should be getting the optimal connectivity that is possible. We've been working with the department involved with a view to seeing if we can do something additional to make sure that schools in particular are connected properly and that would have access to the highest level of connectivity. I don't have the specifics in relation to the case that you've identified there, but that doesn't that is not good, what you've outlined, and needs to be dealt with. I know you said back in 2017, that's 3 years ago, and you were told that Ballinasloe would be the fastest anywhere in the world, and clearly that hasn't happened yet. And the national broadband contract was signed in November 2019, 2 years after that event. And again, the intervention area covers 1.1 million people, 540,000 premises, 100,000 businesses and farms, along with 695 schools. And again, I don't know whether it's the national the broadband plan contract or the National Broadband Ireland is the other crowd you're referring to or not in your remarks in terms of one service provider versus another. But the design work, we're being told, is complete or ongoing in target townlands in every county, with 137,000 premises surveyed as of the 3rd of December. The first fibre to home connections are expected shortly in Carrigaline. Will be subject to technical testing, validation prior to a wider release of the area. I'm told that to ensure swift network rollout, MBI are taking on more subcontractors, negotiating revised timelines where possible with all third parties involved in the build. Broadband connection points are a key element of the NBP, providing high-speed broadband, and as at the 3rd of December, some 217 broadband connection points have been installed by NBI, and 59 of these are now connected with high-speed broadband service through a service provider contract with Vodafone, which is managed by the Department of Rural and Community Development. Each local authority is also playing a critical part in the selection and enablement of these broadband connection points, with a broadband officer appointed in each county to help with communities. And in addition, school BCP's broadband connection points are also being provided with high-speed broadband for educational use only through service provider contract managed by the Department of Education and Skills. To date, 25 schools have been connected with high-speed broadband for educational access, and the budget allocated 210 million to the rollout of the National Broadband Plan. As I said to you at the outset, I'm interested in accelerating the schools programme and doing perhaps a discrete school-based initiative to make sure that we can advance and accelerate the programme in respect of schools. And if you can forward me the details of the specifics of the case that you've identified here, I'll follow that up.
Thank you, Taoiseach. Deputy.
Taoiseach, I welcome your response. First of all, it's not me saying that about the fastest broadband in the world. It's on the department website. It was announced by a minister. We were all invited to this great hoo-ha of what was going on. And generally, if you talk about a town, you talk about the 50-kilometre zones. And it is very unfortunate, and what I've said very clearly, there is other providers there as well in that town. There is 4 different options, in my opinion, to make sure that those 204 children are given the same opportunity. And during lockdown, it is sad to think that the teachers in question had to go to different places to actually give their classes out to them. I will give you the details, but the one thing I do not want is that one passing the book to the other. The Department of Education has constantly said, go back to the service provider. If the service provider isn't fit to do it, then the Department of Education needs to get somebody new in. I will give you the details. I would ask you to get Minister Ryan and Minister Foley involved to get these children what they deserve, proper broadband in their school, like every other school should have in this country.
I agree with the sentiments articulated by the Deputy, I think and I will engage with the Minister for Education on this, and also the Minister for Communications and the department there, who at a recent meeting we sort of identified the potential of doing something with the schools. The costs would not be excessive by any means. And I did it once before as a Minister for Education in the late 90s. We connected every school to the internet in 1 year at the time to Eircom then. I think schools should always be a priority in terms of education and the learning environment. So I'll certainly engage with the relevant departments in that respect.